every game. We rise and unite, fueling the passion, igniting the light. Through highs and lows, we'll stand as one. A legacy, a tale that's just begun. Together we roar, together we roar. The Detroit Lions will rise, with a heart full of dreams and the fire in our eyes. From the past to the future, we'll claim our own. In the home of the brave, we'll proudly have grown. So let's lift our voices, let's turn it up loud. For the love of the Lions, we'll always be proud.
All right. Good morning. Welcome to the Rise and Grind Morning Show. If you guys haven't yet, please make this channel one of your number one sources for Lions content every single morning, Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. We're here on the Rise and Grind Morning Show to make your morning a little bit easier, talking about Detroit Lions. But before we get into every snap or every breakdown here of every glorious moment of yesterday's win versus the Indianapolis Colts, first, do me a favor and smash that like button if you want ads turned off. Or if you're just, reeling in enjoyment here from all the excitement from yesterday, smash that like button anyway. Second, if you're new to the channel, please hit that subscribe button. Join us as we are trying to hit at least 10K this season. 10K is the goal for subscribers, and we'd love to have you as one of them. As every 500, we give away mini helmets signed by Penei Sewell or Chris Spielman. And then thirdly, just have fun. Sit back, enjoy the show. Here we go. Good morning, Eric. How you doing this morning? What's happening?
I'm fantastic. A little tired this morning, but I'm fantastic. That's a heck of a drive from Indy to the UP. Oh, man.
I bet. Was it about an 8-hour drive?
Yeah, it was a little over 8 hours, and then there was about an hour worth of congestion and traffic jams and accidents, and it took forever to get out of Indy.
Yeah, you need to open your eyes. You should probably start with some Honolulu Blue Brew because that is available right now, and it'll be up in the store. Buy me a coffee /rocked on. So if you're tired this morning, you got to get your hands on some Honolulu Blue Brew. It is an amazing coffee, Milky Way, medium dark roast. It's got notes of toasty malt, milk chocolate, and sweet walnut. It is my favorite coffee. It is what I drink every single morning. So you were at the game yesterday. What was the environment like? What was it? 40% Lions fans at least?
70.
It was crazy.
Dude, there were hardly any Colts fans there. It was at least 70%. And if I dare anyone to go watch the broadcast, that very first drive where, sorry, my voice is gone today. When we were on defense, that very first drive, they couldn't hear. Our fans were so loud in the beginning of that game. Every play was affected. We got false starts. They had 10 penalties. We only had 5. It was a flag fest yesterday, by the way, too.
Yeah, it was. It was a good showing of Lions fans. I'm so disappointed that I didn't go, but it is what it is, man. I've had a long couple of weeks. I'm really mad I didn't go because this is one of the games that I wanted to go to.
We went to the Slippery Noodle on Saturday night.
The Slippery Noodle.
Yeah, and nothing was supposed to start until 7:30, and we got there about 4:45.
Yeah.
And it was so packed. We couldn't find a place to sit, and a waitress had to make someone at a reserved table give up 2 seats because their party wasn't there yet. And we ended up eating real quick and leaving because it was just so loud and so crowded in there. And finally made our way out of there, and we walked down to Lucas Oil Stadium and did a little bit of video stuff. And then we came back and tried to go back in. You couldn't. There was a line out the door and down the block and around the corner. It was absolutely insane. And there were so many lines. You couldn't fit everybody in. They stopped letting people in after a while because there were so many people in the place. And
that's a good problem for restaurants. Restaurants obviously, they go through a lot of ebbs and flows but that's a good problem. And Lions fans, we're some of the best people in the world. So, we treat everybody with respect and we tip well too. So
Yeah.
Make sure you take care of your industry people out there, because whenever you're at a restaurant, you know, they work hard for their money. Don't be a stiff. Be a Lions fan and take care of them.
Yeah, I gave the girl a $20 tip, and all I had was a burger, man. But it was one of the best burgers I've ever had. It was so good and so fast, man. For a place that was completely packed, I'm going to say my burger and Gary's burger, it may have taken 5 minutes, if that.
5 minutes?
5 minutes.
That's crazy.
Believe how fast they got the food out. I mean, we just blinked and our food was there. I was like, whoa, what's going on?
Brandy Coffee. That's a new name this morning. Brandy Coffee. Good morning. You need some coffee, Brandy.
Yeah,
right here. Honolulu Blue Brew. It is ready for you. By the way, all the proceeds from Honolulu Blue Brew Coffee support Rock Down Cancer Foundation. I promise it'll all be up today. It'll be ready to go. And these are 12-ounce bags. I love it, man. This is good stuff. You guys got to get your hands on it. Brandy Coffee needs some coffee. Maybe Brandy Coffee is going to be the ambassador of the Honolulu Blue Brew brand.
Hey, there you go. So yesterday, Gary and I got there really early, and I got a primo parking spot right up in the front of the horseshoe lot and right across the street from the stadium. And we decided to walk all the way around the stadium, go to the pro shop and get a pin. And then we decided to go to all the tailgates, right? And I don't remember seeing a single like big Colts gathering anywhere in any of the tailgates. It was all Lions tailgates everywhere. It was nuts. There were more people tailgating in Indy than I've ever seen in Detroit.
Wow. Well, I mean, you know what's nice about Indy though is they're compact. Yeah, they're more compact. You know what I mean? Like they're not spread out everywhere. They're a little bit more compact, you know?
Yeah, it's about a 5 or 6 block area basically where all the lots are, and everybody's just everywhere. You know, every single parking lot was completely full of Lions. It was nuts. I've never seen anything like it. And I sent you a link in an email too. I got about a 5-minute video if you want to show it sometime today that Gary helped put together for me. He edited that sucker from Indy all the way back to my house last night. It took him about 8 hours.
Nice. I didn't see that. Let me log in and get in and check it out. So are Indianapolis Colts, are they the worst fans in the NFL?
No, they were awesome.
No. You know what I mean by not showing up for their team.
I wouldn't say that. They know that, Anthony, listen, I talked to a guy next to me. Okay. He's been a season ticket holder for over 30 years. And he has been to every Super Bowl since the Steelers and the Seahawks at Detroit. Okay. He's been to every single Super Bowl. He's got every jacket. He was telling me about all the people he's met and all the places he's been. And even he was telling me, you know, you guys got it this year. And he's like, you know, our team, we got a young quarterback. We got a, you know, a young defense. This is going to take a little while, you know? And he's like, hey, we won one in 2006. We had Peyton Manning. We know what it's like. He's like, you guys deserve this. You know, you guys have been the laughing stock of the league for 50 years. It's about time. And he's like, I'm really proud of your guys' team and your coach, and you guys are doing it, and you're doing it right. And I couldn't believe the fans. And even the lady that was sitting behind me, I told her in the beginning of the game that I was going to convert her into being a Lions fan by the end of the game. And by the end of the game, she was giving me high fives when we were scoring, and she was standing up cheering. And I was like, see, I told you I'd make you a Lions fan. It was great.
That's fun, man. It's fun when the fans get along. See, there's more to it. See, now when the Bears come, I'm sorry, that's just like there's no getting along with the Bears fans for whatever, except for Broski. Where's Broski? Is he in here this morning? He said he was going to call in this week during the Bears week. So let's talk about that epic collapse last night. The Bears, I mean, they had the Vikings on the ropes. I thought that Caleb Williams threw a couple of nice passes, one to Odunze, but the other one to get him to within field goal position. I mean, last 12 seconds of the game, they not only did they get a onside kick, the first onside kick that I've seen recovered this season. I don't think there's been another one yet. It hit a Vikings player, which makes it a live ball. So even if it didn't go 10 yards, it was a live ball. from what I understand of the rule anyway.
Yep.
And Bears picked it up. And then one pass downfield, they're at like the 31-yard line. I think it was like, I don't know, 58, 56-yard field goal or whatever it was. Knocked it through the uprights, tied the ball game, and then just an epic collapse after that where the Vikings were able to, kick a winning field goal. Man, the Bears had them on the ropes. We needed a Bears win. We really did.
Yeah,
but Caleb Williams, just to me, he looks unsettled. He looks rattled quite often. He doesn't seem confident in what he's doing, and I hope that lasts until Thursday, at least through Thursday, because he does have an arm.
I'll say this:
he does have some receivers that can hurt us. So we're definitely going to talk about Vildor in just a moment. Hostage, I got you.
Yeah, Caleb Williams lost that game in the overtime period. They got the ball first, and Caleb Williams he took forever on that second or third down play and took a huge giant sack, and then they just couldn't recover after that. And all he had to do was throw the ball away. But instead, he loses like 18 or 19 yards on a sack.
Oh, yeah, on that sack. Yeah.
All he had to do was throw the ball away. And he just waited and tried to, move his way around, thought he was quicker than Van Ginkel or whoever it was that got him. And I hope he does that more on Thursday. Keep doing that.
Oh, Mr. Thomas says 47-yard field goal. I thought it was a 58, 56.
Hey,
no, I'm thinking of
50 something.
I'm thinking of Jake Bates.
That Jake Bates kick, it basically was up above the uprights, and it was from 50 something.
Yeah.
It almost went up over the net.
Yeah, had the net not been there, it would have been into the stands.
Yeah.
For sure. Motown Mitch wants to know what the call-in number is. So, Motown Mitch, let me get it set up here.
Yeah, it's on top of the screen there. There we go. 313-312-0348.
Yeah, I'm gonna make sure I got my volume turned down on the phone because I miss phone calls when I have everything on private mode. Okay. Give me just a few minutes, Motown, and if you want to call in this morning, you're more than welcome. Starting at 8:30, the phone lines will open up. And Eric, I don't know if I'm going to be able to download this thing.
Oh, really?
This video you sent?
Yep.
It's wanting me to sign into something.
The Dropbox?
Yeah.
You have to.
So we'll play it tomorrow. Well, I'll get it set up for tomorrow.
All right.
Well, we'll get it played for sure. I didn't see that last night.
Yeah.
So let's kick this off. What are we going to talk about this morning? There's a lot to talk about this morning. So we've got some observations, obviously a little bit of a recap of what happened from yesterday. Tomorrow we're going to dive right into the Bears because it's a short week. The Lions don't even get any time to enjoy this win. They're already moved on to the Bears as of last night, on their way home. I mean, they're already probably hitting tape. They're just going to take the Colts game, bottle it up, put it away. Man, Trace, I don't know what is up with Trace, but that is 60 memberships in the last few shows that she has given away, and she just pumped out another 20. So welcome in the wow, Rocked On Detroit Lions members here. We got the ones. We got A. Coop, Alan Watts, Terrell Lamar, Lazarinsky 1, Anthony Stack, Mike Fisher, Kenneth Cannon, Lecky Tupo, which he was a new guy from last week. Jessica Krieger, Gary Colo, Geeky PJ, Golden FFC, Josu Gonzalez, Jason, Don't Support Rats, Michael Jordan. Hey, Brandy Coffee got a membership. Jody Carithers got a membership. Mark Garcia, Christopher Cunningham, and the one. So awesome. Absolutely awesome that Trace is pumping out those memberships this morning. Thank you, Tracy. You are the best. And your package is coming this week too. So I'm going to throw a couple extra things in there for you.
Oh, I got my seat back.
You got your seat back? Good.
Yeah,
Good. Now you got to get your damn coat.
Yeah.
All right. So first up, let's talk about cornerback Kindle Vildor. Let's talk about the cornerback room for just a moment. So, on Friday, I said that it was unlikely that Terrion Arnold was going to play. And on Saturday, we had found out that Terrion Arnold wasn't going to play. And it was ingrained in stone that he was out. He was done, wasn't going to suit up for Sunday. And so the only choices that were available were really Kindle Vildor, because then Rakestraw, I think he's now been moved to IR for at least the next 4 weeks. Rakestraw's done. Emmanuel Mosley was elevated on Saturday. But again, as I suspected, Emmanuel Mosley was not going to get a bunch of time. He needs to get acclimated to the NFL, and he played in a role on Sunday that was more special teams, got a few snaps. I don't know his full snap count yet, but I know it wasn't a lot. We might see a little bit more Emmanuel Mosley versus the Bears, but something tells me that Kindle Vildor is probably going to get the opportunity against the Bears. And here's what I will say. Was I really disappointed in his showing versus the Colts? I was. I was absolutely disappointed that he kind of had a rough go at it. But I think we need to give him a little bit of credit too, because he hasn't played a ton. You know, he needs to get his feet underneath him. I mean, he's not the best corner in the world, right? We know that. He's not a true number one. We've seen what his deficiencies are. But let's think about this logistically for a moment, or analytically for a moment. We play the most man defense in the league. Kindle is a zone corner. Always has been, always will be. From my perspective, from what I've seen of his tape, previous to the Lions and now, you know, even through last season, when we play zone, he's better. But when we're in man, he struggles. And I was really surprised that we didn't have a lot of shading over top of Vildor in this game last night. So whatever AG is going to do, he's going to do against the Bears. But we can't allow Rome Odunze and DJ Moore just have at Kindle Vildor without help, because we will be in trouble. And Caleb Williams will throw for 300 yards just against Kindle Vildor if they leave him alone on an island. Can't do it. They just can't do it. So hopefully we'll see a little bit more of Emmanuel Mosley. You know, he needs to progress. I'm glad the Lions just didn't throw his feet to the fire. I wouldn't have expected it anyway. But, you know, sometimes when you're down and out, you don't have a choice. You got to do what you got to do. On the other side of that, maybe Khalil Dorsey now gets a better opportunity this week. I expected him to have a little bit more opportunity during the game. I didn't see him get in on the defense a ton. But I would like to see Khalil Dorsey get an opportunity this weekend or this Thursday as well, potentially lining up, you know, as the number 2 corner. So what did you see with Kindle Vildor on Sunday? If you happen to notice, you know, some of the big passes, you know, I guess that's the other thing with Anthony Richardson. You just don't know what you're going to get. I mean, the guy throws, you know, 1,000,000-mile-an-hour fastball and he's throwing it out to left field half the time. You don't even know where the ball's going to go. But some of those touch passes, some of the deep passes, you know, he's really good at those. And he showed us, you know, why on Sunday. He got a couple of them. But what did you see with Kindle Vildor, you know, in his opportunities on Sunday, and why was he having trouble?
Well, you never knew where the ball was going to go. You just didn't know. And he was asked to stick with his receiver for a very long time on an island by himself. And what I was very surprised we did not see was Brian Branch brought down to the corner spot and Brandon Joseph brought in at safety. I thought that's what was going to happen. And I was very, very surprised that it didn't happen during the game. And I suspect that is probably what's going to happen on Thursday. We'll get a little bit of Brandon Joseph and get Brian Branch back down in the cornerback position, because Vildor just, to me, is not it. It gave me, flashbacks of the NFC Championship game. I was just waiting for a ball to bounce off his face mask. That's my negative view for the day on such a positive game. But yeah, everybody's going to pick on Vildor. I think the Vildor part of the game was a very small part of the game. And it's not like Richardson put up 300 yards against us. Now, a couple of them got called back because of penalties, but it seemed like the Colts were charged with the penalty on every single play of the game. It was flag fest. It was flag football.
So, yeah, to the other point here, Carlton Davis, and I'm going to bring in Motown Mitch in just 1 second. More than likely, Carlton Davis could be out. Now, he said after the game that he was good, but that doesn't mean that he's actually going to play this week. So we could be down not only Terry and Arnold, we could be down Carlton Davis, which means we might be at the mercy of backups going against Chicago Bears offense that can be pretty good. Good news is we don't have that. Hold on a sec. 1 second, Motown. I'll bring it right in. I got to get back to my profile here. The good news is we don't have the waxing gibbous moon this year. We have the waning crescent. So that's in our favor this weekend.
Listen, we got to win on Thanksgiving. I'm so sick of what was it, 2016, the last time we won. We got to win on Thanksgiving. Dan Campbell's got to win his first Thanksgiving game. I don't care.
All right, let's bring in Motown Mitch. Motown Mitch, what's happening this morning, man? What's on your mind?
Oh, wow.
You still in, buddy? Motown, you with us? Motown Mitch, you still with us? I think we lost him.
Will, listen to this.
Hold on. I think we lost Motown. Motown, you're going to have to call back, buddy. I think we lost you somehow.
Yep.
All right, go ahead.
The Detroit Lions are opening up as a 10.5 point favorite against the Bears on Thursday.
Oh, that's dangerous.
10.5.
That's dangerous.
That's crazy.
You know, so I was talking about this over the weekend, and then I saw it come out again more yesterday by some of the other creators and whatnot that, you know, this is not shaping up good for bettors. Or not bettors, the people that make the books, right? The bookmakers, the small bookmakers, the big bookmakers, Vegas, everyone that's bet on the Lions and has been betting on the Lions. I mean, I heard it when I was down in Cleveland. I had people coming up to me saying, I always bet the Lions, man. They're a tank. They're just rolling. And it's now turning into a position that if the Lions win the Super Bowl, we could break Vegas.
Yep.
And I don't think that they're going to allow that to happen. So I'm just going to throw caution to the wind. If we see any sort of collusion, flags, ref interference, that would be a very bad look for the NFL. And if you look, the Lions fans are rolling right now. I will say this. We are some of the most kind, compassionate people in the world. But if you screw with us, you won't see the end of it. I'm just going to leave it at that. You won't see the end of it because we will do something. We will figure out a way to do something because you just can't let it happen. You can't let it happen. There's just no way that you're going to interfere because we might break Vegas. You know, Vegas has been winning for decades. I think that they can take a loss. They can take the L for once because the Lions aren't.
Will, back before all of this online, DraftKings and all this stuff, I worked at the casino. And I always had patrons, that came in all the time. And any patrons that were going to Vegas before the season started, I always sent them with $100 bill to go put $100 on the Lions to win the Super Bowl. And I did it for 20 years. So listen, if and when the Detroit Lions win the Super Bowl this year, or even get to the Super Bowl, I'm going to win a bunch of money. But you know what? All I'm going to be doing is breaking even. It's not like I'm going to be making a bunch of money.
Now we got Motown on the phone.
Pay me back for my loan I gave Vegas.
Motown, are you in with us now? What is going on? I don't hear anything.
Yeah, I don't either.
The phone rings. He comes in, but then there's nothing. Buddy, I don't know what's going on, man. I mean, everything's connected on my side.
That's weird.
All right, maybe we won't have phone calls this morning.
Yeah, then I heard the phone hang up.
Yeah, so the phone's connected. It must be on his end. Maybe he's connected to his Bluetooth, and you can't hear us. So real quick on injuries. So to wrap up injuries for yesterday, we had quite a few. Decker now, he did say something after the game in the post-game press conference that he's fine and that he's playing on Thanksgiving, but then he also said, I don't know if I was supposed to say that. But we know how Decker is, man. I mean, he's so high in the ether, and, you just don't know, is the adrenaline pumping? I mean, what was it? It was an MCL and low ankle, I think, is what he had suffered in yesterday's game. Kind of the same thing he had in last season. Was it? It was prior to the NFC Championship game, or was it the NFC Championship game?
Oh, what was that question? One more time. I was reading something.
Decker's injury.
Yeah. Oh, so when is the Canadian guy coming back on, Tony? I don't know when Tony's coming back on.
All right, hold on. Motown, we got you now. I don't get it, man. Something's disconnecting here. Hold on here.
Yeah, that's weird.
Motown, you got me? Motown. I don't understand what's going on. It just totally disconnects when I bring him in.
That's
all right. No phone calls today. I apologize, Motown. I'll get it fixed for tomorrow. I don't know why. I don't know why, but I don't want to ruin the show here by I keep interrupting it, and it's my fault. I don't know what's going on. So Decker, he had the leg injury, knee injury, ankle injury. Don't know. Is he going to play? Is he going to gut it out?
Yeah.
He said that he was going to play, but then he also said he wasn't supposed to say that. So we'll see. Montgomery, this one's a little bit bigger to me. So this is the same kind of injury that he suffered last year. And I want to say he was out for 2 games last year to the shoulder injury.
Yeah.
There is a potential that he may not play on Thursday, but are they really going to try to keep Montgomery out against the Bears? I mean, when you look at the matchup here, he wants to go in and smash the Bears. But this is also a really stout defense, in my opinion. I think that they have some heavy hitters up front. And I don't know that you want to continue to risk a shoulder when, again, we have bigger sights on the horizon, right? We have Super Bowl in our mind, not just one game. Like, Montgomery is bigger than just one game for us. We'll see the Bears again back at, in Chicago, but we'll see the Bears again. So at least be able to match up with them at least one time this season. I think that we have enough with just Jahmyr Gibbs and Craig Reynolds and Vaki to be able to handle the Bears on Thursday. So I guess for you, Eric, would you be, if there was an opportunity to hold Montgomery out of this game and get him rested, because we got 4 games in 18 days or 3 games in 18 days, whatever it is. We need him ready for the long term, right? We're not just one game. Would you rather see Montgomery be held out of this game?
Yeah, I would rather have him for the Packer game than I would for the Bears game. And listen, yesterday I was sitting right in the corner of the end zone where the tunnel where all the players, if they were injured, would go up. So Khalif Raymond went by on the cart right in front of me. That was the one that really worried me. And then Demo came out and he walked up the tunnel with a trainer, but he had his shoulder pads off and his jersey off, and he was holding his ribs. So I thought, and he kept pulling at his shirt like this, and I thought maybe it was something to do with his ribs, because it didn't look like a shoulder when he walked by me, and I didn't see where he got hurt. He didn't like come out of a play or anything that I saw. Kind of hard when you're watching it live, with all the people cheering and stuff, to know when somebody really gets hurt or not. And it was a very much a bummer to see Montgomery and Khalif Raymond go down the tunnel right in front of me.
Yeah, so it was definitely a shoulder shot. So he was on the sideline. It was that run that I think he ran for about 16 yards, and he was just dropping guys left and right and kept breaking tackles. I think he broke about 5 tackles, but he took a shoulder shot. It was a direct shot to his shoulder, and it was like a play later that I think he came out, and then another play later that he was, going down to the locker room. And, you're right, though. I mean, he came back. He was ready to come in. He said he was ready to play. And Dan Campbell just kind of said, look, it's just not worth it. We're fine. We got bigger things on the mind here.
Now, earlier in the year, when we played the Cardinals, you highlighted a play. I think it was Paris Campbell. It was kind of a dirty play, the one on Davenport where he chop blocked his arm there.
Yeah.
There was a play similar to that yesterday, but it was with Jahmyr Gibbs' leg. Jahmyr Gibbs was basically tackled, and the guy came up, grabbed his ankle, and flipped him up. And I was amazed there was no flag called. Everybody in the stands was calling for a flag, and there was no flag on the play because the guy basically just picked him up by his leg after the play was basically over, because he was stopped at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah. So for all the new members of the channel, by the way, I will get this sent out today. Look for the members only messages in the community chat. So I'm going to drop a link to the Voxer chat. So we have a really good community of Lions fans in a private Voxer chat. So, you know, whether you're in the game or throughout the week, I mean, obviously you want to try to respect people's time, like probably don't want to text people at 2-3 o'clock in the morning. But, you know, just be respectful of that. Right. But during the week, during game time, they are so active on this chat. It is a private chat for members only. So I will put the link in there and you guys can join Voxer. You do have to download the Voxer app. It's free. You don't have to pay for it. You don't have to get the Pro app or anything like that. I paid for the Pro app so that you guys could have all the access. So anyway, that'll be available for you after the show. I'll get it put in.
Mr. Thomas, thank you. Hey, wasn't Bluebeard a pirate? I like your beard, dude.
What was the hat that you were wearing yesterday?
Okay, so my hat that I was wearing yesterday, I bought a blue carbon fiber hard hat, and then I bought the black Lions logo stickers for a mini helmet, and I put them on each side, and then I put LEDs all the way around the top of a strip of LEDs around the top, and then I put LEDs all around the bottom, and I got remote controls for them, and I can make them flash and do whatever I want. And dude, it lit up. It's pretty awesome. So whenever you get around to getting my video, you'll see I wore it for the whole weekend. It was pretty awesome.
It looked like a UFO on your head.
Yeah, basically. It lit me up, man. I was hoping I'd get on TV. I didn't see myself on TV though, but we'll see. I got to rewatch the game today. We'll check it out later.
All right, speaking of costumes here, I do need a seamstress. I need some help on a costume. And if someone or anyone knows of somebody that's really good, that would love to take on a project that has about, 4 to 7 weeks or so to get it done, I would love to meet this person, have them email me, mailbag@rockdon.com. I put the information in the chat just now, but just have them email me. I want to give them a project for a costume. And I'm ordering all of the, I'm going to order all of the fabric in that, but I need to speak with somebody first to make sure it's even possible. Because what I think is possible may not be possible, but I always tend to think everything's possible. So if you know a good seamstress, let me know. What else do we have from yesterday? Well, we have observations. So red zone defense, the Detroit Lions entered the game as the number 3 red zone defense in the NFL. And they allowed a touchdown just 42.9% of the time this season so far, which absolutely incredible, right? They improved on this number. They held the Colts to 0-2 in red zone opportunities yesterday. We held them without another touchdown. That's 2 weeks in a row holding teams without a touchdown. I think it's the third time this season we've held teams without a touchdown. The Lions have done a great job at shutting down the run in the red zone, and that's where everything really starts for us on defense, is make sure that we don't let these quarterbacks get out of control, bottle up the running backs, and then we go to work on the receivers. Now, Lions head coach Dan Campbell said defensive coordinator Aaron Glenn puts a lot of detail into red zone situations during the week, and it's certainly showing, according to Tim Twentyman. According to Tim, though, this is a new era. Sunday's win marked the 22nd for the Lions over the last 2 seasons, the most wins in any 2-season span in franchise history. That's right, Lions fans. We are making Lions history each and every Sunday that we play a football game. And they still have 6 games remaining on the schedule. It's the first time the Lions have won 10 games in back-to-back seasons in franchise history. So shout out to Dan Campbell and the rest of this crew for what they're doing, man, because for once, as Lions fans, not only are we witnessing history, we're part of history, we're making history, and we still have a lot more work to do. 6 games left, but I would say we have at least 9 games left, and we have to win all of them, or at least the 3 that matter the most.
You remember the beginning of the season, we said, or you said, that we have to keep teams under 20 points per game?
Mm-hmm.
I just looked and I took what the Lions have allowed and divided it by 11. The Lions are giving up an average of just over 16 points per game.
It's crazy, isn't it?
We are going to be a top 5 scoring defense in the NFL. I can't believe it.
So 16, if I remember correctly, the lowest last week was 14.7, I think, by the Ravens. So we'd
Yeah.
probably be moving up towards number 2 territory now.
Yep.
But that number 20 was so back when I had a conversation with Glover Quinn last season, or it was kind of the season before, he had mentioned that 17 points was kind of the score that you really wanted to keep teams underneath.
The standard, yeah.
Yeah, I felt it was more like 20 just because of the way that the NFL graduated the offensive game, that it is today. They relieve the middle of the field. They've opened up the middle of the field now where receivers can go to work and you don't have to worry about getting hit, even though it still happens. And that, I think, has allowed more scoring. And the NFL wants more scoring. So I moved it to 20. And I thought, look, if you can keep teams under 20, you're going to win a lot of ball games. But then I went a step further. I went back like 15 or 20 seasons. I don't remember how many now. And I went through all the teams that won and I looked, okay, I'm going to cap it at 20. What's the number? What's the percentage? And it was like 87% of games where you held an opponent under 20 points and you could at least put 3 touchdowns on the board, or at least 21 points. You won the game. And so that was the number that I chose based on analytics. And I think it's holding true today. I mean, if you go and look at this weekend scores, which I haven't done this in a while, test my theory. How many scores, how many teams were kept under 20 and how many won? And I think that you'd be surprised. Again, I haven't looked at the scores from yesterday. We can in a minute, and we'll see, where my theory stands today. But picking up the slack yesterday, another observation here by Tim Twentyman said the Detroit Lions played their first game without linebacker Alex Anzalone in Indy, and they knew going into this game that Jack Campbell and Malcolm Rodriguez were going to have to really fill this void. Campbell finished with 8 tackles and 2 passes defensed. Guy was all over the field, man. It's his 8th straight game with 7 or more tackles this season. Malcolm Rodriguez earned a game ball yesterday. He also notched 8 tackles as the Lions shut out the Colts out of the end zone for the 2nd straight week. I thought it was absolutely incredible what Rodrigo did yesterday. Yep. What was he again? Was he a 6th round pick?
6th round pick. And I'm going to tell you something
pick
right now. Jack Campbell had his hands on 2 passes yesterday that he was so close to having 2 picks yesterday by a linebacker. Yeah. A linebacker almost had 2 picks yesterday. I don't know if you could really tell that on the national broadcast, but watching it live, he had 2 balls bounce right off his hands.
Yeah, no, we saw it. Brandy Coffee says, how dare that goofy looking guy call my golf a civilian?
How's that guy looking now?
Whoa. Yeah, he's a civilian. All right. He's a civilian with an accurate arm on his shoulder.
They had that Nick Wright guy on all these different shows after that because he called Goff a civilian. And him and this other guy were on saying, oh, yeah, the Lions are frauds and blah, blah, blah. And they're not going anywhere. And they're not the best show on turf. And they're not creating history and all this stuff. I'm like, dude, they're like that meme that I put up with, the fan, just stop having fun. Stop having fun.
Oh, yeah, yeah. The stick guy.
Yeah. It's like, come on, man. Just let us have it one time.
Let the haters sing. Let them sing. Let them sing, because soon the song is going to end.
Yeah.
And the Lions are just going to play on repeat, right? We're just going to keep doing what we do every week.
But that's what they did. They brought that stupid Nick Wright guy on all these shows because he said that. And he got all sorts of clicks out of it.
Hey, that's fine. We now have plenty of audio and video to use against him later. So I'm glad they did all that. We'll have plenty of stuff to play at the end of the season.
Him and Adam Rank can go, where, and Peter Bukaki or whatever his name is, Bukowski.
Bukaki, maybe.
Yeah, those 3 can go fly a kite somewhere is all I can say.
Oh, so Nick Wright picked the Bears to go to the Super Bowl. Maybe that's why he's so salty.
Yes.
Oh, there we go. Mr. Thomas just chimed in with that one. Appreciate you. Good morning. Better the Hunt all the way from Idaho this morning. He says, a great day to be a Lions fan. Don't forget, we've got C3 Mitts stuff coming at you guys here this week. I showed you guys a couple of the mitts yesterday, but look for it this week. We'll have some ads popping up, and we'll help drive drive the C3 mitts. You know, if you're a hunter and you're out in the woods and you just want to stay warm and you don't want to constantly have to pull your hands out to hold your firearm or your bow or your crossbow or whatever, or if you're just someone that enjoys hiking or golfing or whatever, there's a mitt for that too. I also said the other day, Eric, I said, you know, it'd be kind of good for rock hunting. If you're doing early spring or late fall rock hunting, you've got these mitts on that can fit a little warmer right in the pocket there. And it keeps your hands nice and toasty, but then you can pull your hands out, you know, pick up your rocks, do whatever you got to do, put your hands right back in. You can hold your flashlight with it and stay nice and warm, but it keeps your hands accessible instead of, you know, biting the fingers off your glove to pull your glove off and all that stuff, annoying. You know, it's so annoying.
The most annoying thing ever. And listen, right now it's pretty awesome because you can still rock hunt. There's no snow.
Yeah.
And we've had nothing but northwest winds blowing off Lake Superior, and man, there are a lot of rocks getting found right now and some awesome stuff.
Well, we need to find a new name other than no fly zone, because I want to say the no fly zone first started with the Spartans back in the early 2000s, if I remember correctly, or maybe it was late 2000s, 2008, 2007, 2009. I think it was around the Kirk Cousins era, so maybe it was before that, 2005. But either way, no fly zone really started with the Michigan State Spartans for their defensive backfield, and it was also the Legion of Boom and everything out with the Seattle Seahawks. But the no fly zone is alive and well in Detroit. Detroit has not allowed multiple touchdown passes in any game this season. Let me say that again. The Detroit Lions have not allowed multiple touchdown passes in any game this season, which is a pretty wild statistic according to Tim Twentyman. When you think about today's NFL, Brad Holmes should get a ton of credit for adding key players to this secondary and for Dan Campbell and his staff for developing them into such a cohesive unit. You know, I wasn't real high on Carlton Davis when we first brought him in, and it took a couple of days for it to marinate. It took a few days for me to really dive in and watch tape and kind of figure out who he was. And all I said was this. The guy wasn't available for 23% of the games that he was, should have played in because of injury over his career. But when he plays, it's a damn good corner. He just had to stay on the field. And so far this season, he's been staying on the field. He's been battling some injuries, but he's staying on the field. But for whatever reason, he keeps getting banged up every single season. Carlton has been a big reason why the Detroit Lions are playing so well this season. Especially on the back end, but I think it really helps when you have top tier safety play like we have with Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch. But I'm just, to go back to where we started, I am a little bit worried about our cornerback depth right now and what's going to happen this Thursday. Big shout out to Ed O'Neill. Said Darnold Cook, Chicago. Goff, it is your time. Appreciate the $1.99 donation there, Mr. O'Neill. And let's get you a Gibbs TD.
Goff takes the snap, Gibbs to Gibbs. Gibbs bounces through a hole. There it goes outside 20. Gibbs 15. Gibbs 10. Angling to the end zone. Touchdown, Detroit Lions. Oh, baby, what a run.
Yeah, and big shout out to Steve K, too. Says Amik has been dogging it, too. And he has. Amik Robertson's another big reason. I mean, this guy plays incredibly well. It was just vicious intent with Amik Robertson. I mean, yesterday, I don't know if you caught this, Eric, but he went to celebrate after making a really good play, really good tackle. And I think he was facing the Colts sideline. And I think he went to do the seatbelt thing. And the ref was like, don't do it. Don't do it. And he smiled, looked at the ref, smiled, big old smile that he has. And he just kind of put his hands back down, turned around and walk away. He was going to catch a 15-yarder. Yeah, it was funny. It was funny to watch.
Now on TV, when Gibbs broke free and he ran backwards into the end zone, is that what he got the flag for? We didn't know what he got flagged for.
Say it again.
So Gibbs got an unsportsmanlike.
Yep.
And that was the reason that the extra point got pushed back.
Yep.
Was it because he ran backwards and was taunting?
Yes.
That's what it was. That's the dumbest penalty ever.
Pretty ticky-tacky. It was pretty ticky-tacky.
Running backwards. Who cares?
Well, he was John at whoever was running behind him.
So what?
So there was a true taunting penalty because he was jawing at his opponent. And look, I think that if it would have been done after the play, then that would have made more sense. But it was during the play.
I don't get it.
But just think about it. Our guys aren't taunting after the play. They're doing it during the play while they're scoring, Eric.
How can you taunt during a play? I don't understand it.
Well, when you have that much distance between you and the defender and you're running backwards is faster than he's running forwards, I think you should be allowed to taunt just a little bit. So,
play better. If you don't like it, play better. That's all I can say.
That's right, Carlton. If you don't like it, you got to play better. Perfect start for kicker Jake Bates. Now has made each of his 16 field goal attempts for his career, which ties the 5th longest streak to begin a career in NFL history. He has now made 2 field goals of 56 or more yards. He also has an extra point of 48 yards and has already tied with Jason Hansen for the 2nd most in Lions history. So shout out to Boom Boom Bates, who's definitely not busted. He's just busting big kicks all season long. And then we have limited sleep this weekend. As we know, it's a quick turnaround for Thanksgiving. Quarterback Jared Goff said that he'll start watching tape on Sunday night on the Bears. So as I said earlier, they are watching tape on the bus ride home. And the coaches will already have a game plan on Monday morning. So like I said, they are taking this game. They're crinkling it up. They're throwing it away. They're on to the next one. It'll be a swift move into Bears territory. And what the Lions are going to prepare for this week will start for us tomorrow. Running identity is what the Lions have. The Detroit Lions rushed for 137 yards. My calls yesterday, I made a lot of calls yesterday, Eric, and most of them came true.
Yeah.
I thought the Lions would get 150 yards. I thought that Gibbs would get 100, and I thought Monty would get 50. Had Monty not been injured, he would have got his 50. And Gibbs ended with 90, and then the Lions decided to kneel down and take it. So, and then also Jared Goff, he was literally 31 yards away from getting his 300 yards on the day, which would have been his 40th game, and he would have been in elite company. He would have been a top 5 quarterback in NFL history for the most 300-yard passing games in a career within the first 9 seasons. So he still has 6 more games to do it. He's got to do it. He's got to get one more 300-yard game this season before week 18 and get into that elite company of, who was it? It was Peyton Manning. It was Dan Marino. It is Patrick Mahomes. There was one other one. I don't remember who the other one was. Could have been Tom Brady. I doubt it.
Did you notice that in the 4th quarter, the Lions really let their foot off the gas?
I don't know if I'd really say that, but I'll have to watch the tape again today and figure that out, because
it really felt like it in the stadium. It was just run, a pass here and there, run. And it just seemed like if we really wanted to, we could have ran the score up on these guys.
I feel like they're probably just trying to kill the clock and get out of there. I think that Ben Johnson's trying to withhold, some of his playbook. And we saw yesterday 3 new plays popped out right in a row. 3 new plays popped out yesterday. I was surprised.
What was that?
I'll have to show you on the tape, because I don't even remember where they were. I didn't write it down. I totally forgot to write it down. But yeah, he popped out with 3 new plays yesterday. And I don't think they talked about it after the game. I don't know if anybody even really noticed, but I noticed because we haven't done it yet.
Could you guys hear it on TV when Skipper reported?
No, I didn't anyway.
Awesome, man. Oh my God. The whole place erupted. It was great.
No, it's towards the end of the game. Yeah.
I think it was the 2nd or 3rd quarter. Yeah. I was more towards the middle of the game.
So
the first time he reported. It was
little NFC North action here. Minnesota survived Chicago. We already talked about that. The overtime win. Packers beat the 49ers. And I thought for a second there that the 49ers were going to have a chance in that game, but their backup quarterback, Allen, he's just a pick machine yesterday. But, he didn't really have any time to acclimate to that offense. I think that if Brock Purdy would have been in there, Packers definitely don't win that game. They won that game due to the lapses of the 49ers, if you will. Caleb Williams outperformed Jordan Love yesterday. So what does that say? I don't know if it says anything.
They purposely ran the ball so Jordan Love wouldn't throw more picks.
Probably. So a couple of my calls from yesterday, which you can hear on Friday and Saturday, the pregame shows. Number one, I said that Tim Patrick was going to have a big game. By reading the Colts defense and what they were doing and not doing well, I thought the middle of the field was going to be wide open for Tim Patrick. I thought deep shots were going to be wide open for Tim Patrick. I thought that deep shots were going to be available for Sam Laporta, and they were. It was just a bad throw by Jared Goff, so you missed the one deep shot. They couldn't really connect. Him and Sam Laporta really couldn't connect the entire day. But Tim Patrick, man, he really had an excellent day yesterday. It was good to see him kind of pop up and say, hey, I'm still here, and I still play, pretty damn good game. So excited to see him have a big day. I also thought that 7 Lions wide receivers would touch the ball yesterday, and they did. Matter of fact, it would have been 8 had Khalif Raymond brought in his catch, but Jameson Williams, St. Brown, Tim Patrick, David Montgomery, Brock Wright, Sam Laporta, Jahmyr Gibbs all caught passes yesterday, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and number 7. So 7 receivers touched the ball yesterday. I was narrowly close. Or narrowly missed on the yards for rushing. I thought that there would be at least 170 on the ground and 150 come by Gibbs and Montgomery. Like I said, I missed that one by 10 yards to Gibbs and 23 to Montgomery. Jared Goff, I said, I thought that he could throw 300 yards. Not that it was needed, and it wasn't needed. He threw for 269 and a 72.2% completion percentage, 93.4 rating, 7.5 yards per attempt. 0 TDs on the day, though. No interceptions. I said that Gibbs and Monty would both get in the end zone. They both did, and Gibbs did it twice. The Lions won this game on the ground, and it was good to see. It was good to see that we didn't need as much air raid action yesterday as maybe we thought that we would have. But St. Brown was 7 targets, 6 receptions for 62 yards. Jameson Williams finally eclipsed the leading receiver of the day. 7 targets, 5 receptions, 64 yards. So he beat St. Brown just by 2. Tim Patrick had 55 on the day, so 4 for 4. The guy can catch, Eric. The guy just catches everything that's thrown to him. I love the way that Tim Patrick has excelled in this offense.
Yeah, I really thought Tim Patrick was going to get his first touchdown yesterday. I thought it was going to happen. He got down to the 3 or the 4 yard line.
Yeah.
I thought it was finally going to happen. I made a big bet on it too, and it didn't come in.
He'll get it. He'll get it. It's coming. It's coming. It's just I thought it was a really good. Even Great Lakes State guy said I think the Colts had a damn good game plan. They did. I thought they had a really good game plan. They were playing us really tough, and that was the other big call that I had. There was a lot of people saying that we were going to blow these guys out, and I said, look, this is going to be a tough game, and I felt like we would win. But we're going to be uncomfortable for a little while. But you know what? The Lions are great at being in uncomfortable situations and being comfortable in those situations. So they did a great job at managing what the Colts were throwing at them yesterday. And for whatever reason, I do not understand this at all. The Colts come out hot with Richardson running the ball, which we expected.
And then nothing.
And then they stopped. We couldn't really stop him. Every time he was running the ball, he was gashing us big time. And he's a load. He's a tough quarterback to get down. And you saw it a few times where, a couple of our guys tried to tackle Richardson head up, Kirby Joseph being one of them. He just got absolutely trucked.
Yeah.
And then it just, like a water faucet, they just turned it off. And then he just started spraying the football all over the field, like a sprinkler. It just everywhere. I think I'm throwing it left and it goes over here in the stands. It's like, what is he doing?
How many times did Richardson throw the ball to absolute no one?
It was crazy. And look, some of that stuff, you really couldn't do much about because he was under some pressure. And that was my other call of the game. I didn't think yesterday was going to be a sack day. I thought we might get 2 up the middle, but I thought interior pressure was going to be the way with Aleem McNeil, and Aleem McNeil was the guy yesterday. Aleem McNeil had a big day. Providing some pressure and getting after, Anthony Richardson, getting some holding calls, throughout the game. They couldn't hold Aleem down. Zadarius Smith had a good day. Even though, again, no sacks, but providing the right pressure. I thought that they played contain, really well. I don't know of another defensive end right now, not named Josh Paschal, that is that good at containing an edge. Like, he is that good. Nothing gets outside of this guy. He is really good at doing his job. Did we just get a blessing, in disguise? Unfortunately, Aiden Hutchinson goes down and you got to move guys around now. Josh Paschal's, he's been an edge his whole life. He just didn't know it. So I'm loving where this is trending, especially when you start thinking of next season and the possibilities that are now endless for this defensive line. Every single week, we are having to move guys around and pick up the slack and, fit guys in, taking care of injuries, and this guy's out and that guy's out and this guy's done for the season and this guy's down for 4 weeks, and they just find a way to win. Who is responsible for that? Well, it's Brad Holmes bringing in the right guys, number one. It's Dan Campbell having the trust, with his staff to allow them to do what they do well. But it's AG. AG is an absolute stud right now. The way he's calling defense, he has every single one of these guys believing that they are an all-pro, because that's how they play. Every single one of these guys is playing. I don't know if any of them are going to get all-pro this season. I would hope that Branch and Kirby would, but they're all playing that well. I just don't know another defense out there that is this good, the way that we're playing. Yeah, statistically, you might have more pressures. You might have more sacks, or, McKinney got another interception yesterday, so he tied Kirby. But I don't know of another defense that is really this well, I hate to use the word trained, but developed and able to do what they're able to do week in and week out. And it's only going to get better, especially if we can stay healthy and get a couple of guys back. There's still an outside chance, and I haven't heard much about it with John Kaminsky. With towards the end of the season, there's still an outside chance that he could be back. But we haven't even seen Broderick Martin yet. We still have depth behind this line. So, Eric, how excited, or I guess give me your take here on the defense and what you're noticing, week in and week out, and what's working well for us.
I love it. And, us being now the number 2 scoring defense in the league behind the Chargers, absolutely amazing. Thank you, Ryan Van Valkenburg, for letting me know that, by the way. And it just astonishes me that we've had so many injuries on the defense and we just keep trucking along. Now, imagine we have Davenport still as a rotational piece with Zadarius Smith, with Aiden Hutchinson, with John Kaminsky, with Derek Barnes, with all these guys we've put down. Listen, this would be one of the most unstoppable defenses of all time.
I think it would be.
Our players. Listen, we'd be rivaling the 85 Bears if we had all of our players. We haven't allowed a touchdown in 10 quarters, 2.5 games. The last 3 games, we have not allowed a single score, a field goal, anything in the second half of the game for 3 games in a row. Just absolutely amazing defense. And I hate to say it, but Aaron Glenn's gone. Aaron Glenn is going to be a head coach somewhere next year. He wants to be a head coach. He wants to be a head coach, and he is going to be a head coach for the New Orleans Saints.
Could be. Did I see yesterday that Alex Anzalone put that tweet out that said blank? What did it say? It said blank. Aaron Glenn is now the new head coach of this team.
Yep.
Anzalone put that out.
Oh yeah, it's key. They all know what's coming.
Yeah. The only benefit is we get a couple of 3rd-round picks out of the deal.
Yeah. Once a week, Dan Campbell gets together with his assistant coaches, and they look at all the film from around the league and what they need to do to be the next head coach. He is building a coaching tree. This is going to be like the 49ers and the Packers and the Dallas Cowboys and the Eagles, where all these coordinators go off to end up being head coaches. We are going to have a head coaching tree from the Detroit Lions. That's something we've never been able to say. Well, I don't remember any of our coordinators ever in my lifetime going on to be a head coach somewhere else. let alone 2 of them in one season.
Well, speaking of Dan Campbell, I think that before their next meeting, I'm going to have to send them some Honolulu Blue Brew coffee blend by Rocked On Detroit Lions. So if you guys want your Honolulu Blue Brew coffee, you're going to have to visit buymeacoffee.com/Rocked On. It'll be in the shop today. It'll be uploaded. All proceeds will benefit Rocked On Cancer Foundation. I'm going to go ahead and send a care package to Allen Park. We'll see if they actually use it. I don't know if they're funny about food or, things like that being sent to them. Like, I don't know if I should drink that or eat that, someone trying to poison me. But no, there won't be any poison. It's really good coffee. Trust me. Dan Campbell will love it. I think it'll be right up his alley for what he enjoys, the type of coffee that he already drinks. I think that he'll love it. Because you can also make this into an espresso. So if you have a press pot or if you have an espresso machine, if you grind it the right way, you can make it into any style of coffee. That is what's so unique about these beans. It's an Ethiopian blend, and it's really, really good. It's low acidity, and I love it. So I coarse grind mine. If you guys want to know, so here's what I do. I use a drip coffee machine just because it's easy. But I do a third of a cup of beans. I grind it coarse. So 4 seconds maybe in my grinder. And then I use 2.5 bottles of water. So it's like, the number 8 or whatever on your drip machine. And I let it go. And it is the best coffee in the world. And then I use caramel macchiato cream. And that's it. No sugar, no anything else. Just a little bit of caramel macchiato cream. And it's really good. But you can absolutely make it into espresso. So if you like espresso, it's got this like creamy, caramel, milky flavor just to the coffee without adding anything. But anyway, we were talking about Anthony Richardson and kind of spraying the ball everywhere and this defensive line and how good they have been. Yesterday, Anthony Richardson completed 2 of 14 passes for 33 yards when the Lions pressured him. 2 of 14 passes. Now, you compare that to 9 of 14, though, for 139 yards when he had a clean pocket. He had a 38.5 completion percentage against pressure this season and is now the 7th lowest in the season since 2018. The Lions generated pressures on 14 of 30 dropbacks for a 46.7% pressure rate. That was their highest in a game this season. And Aleem McNeil generated 4 quick pressures under 2.5 seconds. I'm so happy that someone is finally recognizing a quick pressure is 2.5 seconds. Because everyone else, like PFF, calls it 3 seconds. Like, that's eternity in the NFL. 2.5 seconds. So it's tied for the most by any defensive tackle in a game in 2024. Aleem McNeil should have got a damn game ball yesterday. Whoops, sorry. Should have got a damn game ball yesterday. I thought he had an incredible game. Shout out to Aleem, the dream. Again, without Aiden Hutchinson, without Davenport, without Kaminsky, guys are banged up, and the Lions are balling out. Is it scheme? Is it Aaron Glenn? Is it the player? I'd say yes, yes, yes. All the above. Lions had an incredible showing yesterday without having to blitz. They didn't have to blitz. I think we saw David Long Jr. got sent on one play. And he didn't get in. He kind of went late, but he got sent on one play that I saw an actual linebacker blitz yesterday. Other than that, I just didn't really notice much happening. But we are getting pressure. And we got pressure against the Colts, which we expected. But that was my biggest call, in the pregame was Aleem was going to have a big game, and this is why. Interior guard play was suspect, and I just felt between him and Zadarius Smith moving him around yesterday, like Aaron Glenn was talking about, it was going to be able to just generate natural pressure, winning your one-on-ones. And Aleem was beating his one-on-ones so much so that they had to hold the guy all the time. And they finally got one of them called, but he was held on multiple plays. It's the same thing that was happening to Aiden. Aiden was held on multiple plays. And I threw this out yesterday during the show, too, during the live stream, that, a lot of people make a big deal about Aiden Hutchinson still being at the top of the list, for pressures and sacks and all that. For sacks, it's great. But for pressures, in pressure rate, really more so pressure rate, we have to remember something. He only played through week 6. So he hasn't had the same number of snaps as all of these other guys. So when you get to the end of the season, it's kind of like when you compare quarterbacks, completion rates or, whatever, right? Or yards per attempt. If you've got a backup quarterback that comes in and plays a couple of games and he does really well, of course he's going to be at the top of the list, right? His numbers, his stats are really, really high. But if you go a whole season and you've only had 100 snaps, well, that really doesn't compare to the guys that have played 1,000 snaps, So we have to keep that into mind a little bit with his stat numbers. I mean, what Aiden jumped out to do this season was incredible, but a lot of it came against what was the team? What was the one team he had big success with? It was like week 2 or 3.
Arizona?
Was it Arizona? But he had like 5 sacks.
The game before.
Seattle?
Yeah.
No,
Seattle,
wasn't Seattle, was it? Either way, he had one really good game where he had a ton of pressures and like 5 sacks. So,
yeah.
But it's good to see that, he's moving. I know I didn't talk about it last week. He's moving in the pool. And a lot of people blew that out of proportion too. Like he's just in the pool.
Yeah.
I've been through that kind of, that kind of treatment before. 75% of your body weight is off of you when you're in the pool at chest level. So he's kind of like walking on clouds, Justice Smith. That's a new name.
So Justice Smith was with me at the game yesterday. He came from Alabama.
Nice.
He drove 9 or 10 hours to come to the game, and he bought a ticket right behind me, and he came down and sat with me at the end of the game. Justa hung out with me at the tailgate all day. Really cool, awesome dude. Justa, you are awesome.
So Justa just sent in a $20 super chat. He says, you could see Richardson just gets flustered every time we breach the line. Yeah, absolutely, man. Good point. Absolutely good point. And I'll always, keep this open to everybody. We'll open up the phone lines tomorrow morning. We're having some technical difficulty this morning. Not sure what. Yeah. But if you ever want to call in, the phone number's on the screen. And we'd love to have you guys all call in, talk about your experience yesterday at the game. What else do we have going on this morning?
I have a couple of questions today. So there's 2 plays I would really like to talk about and get your opinion on. And the first one, I'll go with defense, the Lions defense. All right. So we had them backed up pretty far, right close to the end zone where I was sitting. And what I thought should have been a safety right in front of me.
I thought it was too.
In the stadium, they did not show a single replay, which drove me nuts because I didn't get to see it. But in front of me, live, watching it, I saw him down before he got rid of the ball. And when he got rid of the ball, it should have been intentional grounding for a safety in the end zone.
Right.
That's what my eyes saw. And how come that was not a safety? How did they rule it not a safety?
I didn't hear the explanation because I didn't have the actual game audio on, and I didn't hear anything from Dan Miller as far as an explanation during the game. But I'll look up the information. Here's my understanding. So the minute you cross the plane into the end zone, you can run around. Like crossing the plane's no big deal, right? But Dan Orlovsky did it. He had a safety when he stepped out of bounds, right behind the end zone.
Stroud did it yesterday.
Huh?
CJ Stroud did it yesterday.
Did he really?
Yep.
So you can step into the end zone. That's no problem. But see, I thought his forward progress was stopped and they were going to blow the whistle.
Mm-hmm.
And then he just threw the ball. Was he not still in the pocket?
Yes.
Okay. So then it should have been intentional grounding, should have been a safety.
And the ball didn't leave the end zone.
So, and for that, if it didn't leave the end zone, then it would have been a ball behind the line of scrimmage, which should have been a free ball. And then it was picked up by the Lions for a touchdown.
Yep. Either one. It was either a safety or a touchdown.
So why didn't Dan Campbell throw the flag?
Yeah, I don't know.
I think he should have.
Yep.
But again, I don't know the sticky. There's a lot of sticky rules in the NFL, man, that every time you open up one rule and you just step into a pile of shit. And there's some rules in there that are so well hidden that we don't see every day.
But before he got rid of that ball, his knees were touching down and he was touched down in the end zone. That's what I saw with my eyes. Because, I mean, it was literally right in front of me. right there. And so that play, okay. And then the second play I'd like to talk about. Do you remember? I don't remember what quarter it was. Jared Goff tried to go deep to Amon-Ra St. Brown, and he underthrew the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Mm-hmm. On that play, it was coming right at me. I was on the opposite side. On the opposite side of the field, J-Mo had beat his man so bad that there was no one within 20 yards of J-Mo, and he was literally standing in the end zone all by himself in the corner of the end zone. If Goff would have had just a split second more to look his way instead of eyeing down Amon-Ra the whole time, easiest touchdown ever. And everyone in the end zone was screaming, J-Mo, J-Mo, J-Mo's open, J-Mo, 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 and he threw the ball to Amon-Ra.
So I'd have to watch the play. Did he have pressure coming from the right?
He did have pressure on him. But I mean, J-Mo, right from the beginning of the play was his dude fell down, and he was just completely 100 million% over the middle, wide open, all the way to the end zone.
So let's keep this in mind for just a second. When you go through progressions as a quarterback,
yep,
you don't often get back to your first progression.
Yeah.
So J-Mo could have been progression, spot number one. J-Mo not open, bang, bang, bang. And then it's Amon-Ra way down the field. So at that point, he's off of J-Mo. Yeah. I'm gonna give Goff the benefit of the doubt here that he's off J-Mo because J-Mo wasn't open at the moment, and then he progressed to Amon-Ra St. Brown, and then he just launched the ball, which St. Brown never turned around. If he would have turned around and come back for the ball, it would have been an easy catch. But that was a pretty long toss, and I thought that Goff had pressure coming from the right, which would have forced his eyes to the left. So we'll see it in the tape. My play from yesterday is Brian Branch. So Brian Branch is getting overly targeted now. Mm-hmm. He's getting overly targeted by the refs. That play to me was perfectly fine.
Yep, that was shoulder.
There was barely any helmet to helmet contact, and if there was, it might have been a little bit of the side of the helmet to the ear, but it was also shoulder pad, and he was leading with the shoulder the whole time. And TJ Lang made a good point. He said, you tell me where any defender that is going to lead with a shoulder doesn't have to lower their helmet. It's not like you're going like this, here's my shoulder. No, you gotta drive into the player. So your body is naturally going that way. I think the Branch is just getting overly targeted. Now, yesterday, that could have been an injection, right? I mean, that was very similar play to what happened in Green Bay. I think that there was more helmet-to-helmet contact in Green Bay, but even though I don't think it was by purpose, I think that it just happened naturally, right? What are we going to do about Brian Branch? Because if this happens in the playoffs, dude's going to get ejected. And if and I don't know how the progression works in the NFL. We've got to have somebody look this up, or I'll have to look it up. What happens if you continually get these penalties throughout the season? Do you start losing games?
Yeah, suspensions. Yep.
So if he gets a second one where he's ejected, does that now mean he has to sit a game? And if that's the case, if that happens in the playoffs, remember, I'm talking about collusion here with they don't want the Lions to win because it's going to break Vegas. It could happen. I'm hoping it doesn't. So Brian Branch, along the sideline, he's going to have to use his hands. He's just going to have to go and shove those guys out of bounds. And to be honest with you, I think that is going to be more of an impactful injury potential to a receiver than just hitting them with a shoulder and trying to drive them out of bounds. Because your force with your hands is going to cause whiplash, number one, without contact. And number two, these dudes are strong. He's going to push him 10 yards out of bounds, and then you're going to end up in a bench. You're going to end up in, rolling up somebody or getting hurt by somebody else that you're landed on out of bounds, or a piece of equipment or whatever. So you just can't win, I guess. You just can't win. And what's he supposed to do? It's not like if he tries to slow down, he could hurt himself. And I think that people forget that. You can't just stop on a dime and expect to, keep your ACLs intact, your PCLs or MCLs or whatever. You just can't do it. You've got to finish the play. So I don't know. I think that Brian Branch is being unfairly targeted now because he has been now for 2 seasons. I mean, he's the hardest, most vicious hitter in the NFL. I love it. He reminds me of an Ed Reed back there, just crushing dudes. I don't want him to stop doing what he's doing because we need it. We absolutely need it. We need him to play physical football. And then you've got Kirby Joseph, who they also call dirty, going at people's knees.
Yeah.
So I don't know. They just can't win, dude. They can't win.
Yeah. And, you know, in the stadium, when they threw that flag, and they actually showed a replay on that one, I thought for sure New York was going to call down and say, that's it. Take him out of the game.
Yeah.
He's ejected. I thought 1,000,000% New York was going to call down and take him out of that game. Because it didn't look any different to me live than the play in Lambeau. It didn't look any different at all.
Arpazzo says, I taught my son to run through the play. If you're more aggressive than the other guy, you have less of a chance to get injured. Yeah, it's a great point, man. It's you know, if you know physics or whatever, right? I mean, you're bringing the energy and you're going up against somebody that has energy. Whoever has more energy is going to win. You know, you don't want to stall out. Yeah, this is just it's becoming a problem for Brian Branch because he's just there's going to become a time where, you know, maybe somebody does get hurt. So far he hasn't hurt anybody. Right? Everyone's gotten up off the field.
Yep.
And I think that they need to change the rule. Kind of what I said for the first Brian Branch ejection. It needs to be this simple. If you hurt my guy and my guy can't come back into the game, then you are ejected and you can't come back into the game. I think it needs to be that simple. I mean, how else can you make it fair or more fair? I don't know of another way. I don't know. I just hate to see the refs getting involved into a game like this, especially when the Lions are already struggling, you know, with defensive players right now and in keeping guys on the field. I don't know. So yesterday we also saw something out of Goff that I've noticed now for a few games. So it started really with the Titans game, where we had noticed that Jared Goff was doing more rollouts, boots, and things of that nature pregame. I'm sorry, not the Titans game, the Jags game. Pre-game warm-ups, he was doing more rollouts and boots and things of that nature during his warm-ups. And I felt like it was intentional enough because I don't normally see Jared Goff do that. I mean, he does his normal warm-up, but that one was a little bit different where he was actually intentionally rolling out using his legs. He's increasingly been more mobile as the weeks go on, and maybe this is just part of the trajectory and the plan by Ben Johnson and Dan Campbell to say, okay, we haven't really been a whole lot. We really haven't been mobile a whole lot, you know, through the first 9 weeks of the season. Now we need to get you moving a little bit. We need to provide a couple of new wrinkles for the defense staff to worry about. But I think that there is a Taylor Decker situation here too, because Decker, he's been getting beat at times where it's so clear that he's been beat that it is providing instant pressure on Jared Goff, and he's just got to roll out. And rolling to his right, obviously, is a lot easier than rolling to his left. So I think that Goff moving out of the pocket more now is obviously beneficial for this offense. But I think it's also to help protect Jared Goff's blind side because Taylor Decker has had some issues. I mean, Glasgow at times have had his issues too, but I think that that's the intent here. I think that rolling Goff out, making him more mobile right now is just the next wrinkle to this offense. And look, we saw Tim Patrick come alive yesterday. Absolutely come alive with more of these rollouts. Jared Goff hit him pinpoint accuracy, you know, on a few passes. So something just to pay attention to, just something I've noticed over the last couple of weeks. Jared Goff, though, throughout the day yesterday, we talked about Anthony Richardson. So Jared Goff was 15 of 16 passes for 185 yards when targeting the middle third of the field. Mm-hmm. Do you remember the other day when I said that the Colts had difficulty protecting the deep third of the field?
Yep.
So he targeted the middle third of the field, not so much the deep third, but he produced a plus 16% completion percentage over expected on those passes in the Lions' Week 12 win over the Colts. He went 11 of 17 for 84 yards. When throwing toward the left or right areas, the Colts utilized zone coverage on 39 of his 40 dropbacks, 97.5% zone coverage, the highest rate by any team in a game this season. And I said it in the pregame. If you run zone against the Lions, we are going to slice you up. And that's exactly what they did. You can't run zone on us. You can't. You can run man on us. We'll figure that out too. But you run zone against us, and that's where our guys just live, eat, and breathe in those little nooks and crannies of the defense. They find their hole, they sit down, and Goff's on them. So, pretty cool chart that I'm looking at right here. All green. There's only like 5 or 6 white dots on this whole chart. But the middle of the field is completely lit up. Here, let me try to share it here. Anyway, did you notice anything yesterday with Jared Goff and his passing efficiency that stood out or no?
The thing that really stood out to me was that he was taking some sacks and he was under pressure quite a bit. I think that Colts defense was a lot better than people give them credit for because they're 5-7. They had one hell of a defense. They had a good game plan, and they really got the pressure on Goff yesterday. That's what I noticed.
Yeah. So if you take a look at this chart here, this is your middle third right here. So you got 0 to 5, 5 to 10, and then 10 to 15. So your middle third, I don't have my drawing ability here. Let me see if I can just do this. If I were to draw, like, this is your middle of the third right here. That's your middle third of the offense. And Goff just painted it. He just painted it all day. And that's what I saw was, a very big weakness of the Colts defense when I was watching tape and getting ready for the pregame show. That this is going to be an area that Jared Goff is going to take care of. So big shout out to Jared Goff, man. Hell of a game yesterday. Hell of a game.
Yes.
All right. What else do you have for today, Eric? We're coming up on the last 30 minutes of the show here.
So I got some questions for you today. So let's do a little over-under reaction today.
Oh, boy.
Are you ready for this?
Maybe.
All right. So might be some topics we talked about, but we're going to expand on it a little bit. All right.
Sure.
Are you ready for this? Is it an overreaction that Kindle Vildor should be benched?
Yes, that is an overreaction. Real quick though, I gotta shout out Brandy Coffee. So Brandy Coffee, Megan Stefanski already won NFL Fan of the Year, and yes, we all voted for her
for the Lions.
Yeah, for the Lions.
You can still vote for her for the Fan of the Year.
Oh,
yeah. So she's in the voting all the way up until Super Bowl Sunday. All the Fans of the Year for each 32 teams are going to be in the voting until Super Bowl Sunday. You can vote for them every day, and you can vote as much as you want. I tried to talk to Megan about it, and she wanted nothing to do with talking about the voting whatsoever. She's like, if I win, I win. If I don't, I don't. That was basically her. She doesn't want to do any promoting for herself.
Yeah. So next year though, I'm going to promote right now. So next year, you guys got to make sure that you're voting these two guys for a Lions Fan of the Year, because we're going to be going all out, building a float. We're going to have mobile podcast. We're going to be doing all sorts of work for Rock Down Cancer Foundation. There's going to be a ton of work going in to make sure that we help others, right? And that's what it's all about, is helping others. Big donations going to like PFUFA, to kids foundations, you name it. So we would love to be involved in that stuff. But again, this will be the only time I say something about it, because it has to happen naturally. So I appreciate Megan Stefanski and what she does and how she goes about her business. She's an excellent fan.
I'll tell everybody this right now. I don't need Fan of the Year. People tell me that stuff all the time. I would rather put my backing with this guy right here. I'd rather back Will and try to get Will to be Fan of the Year than myself. I don't need it. I would rather be friends with all the fans of the year than have all that responsibility. I would much rather just put my support behind my friends like Megan and Will. Let's make it happen for them, man. I'll be more than happy for them.
That's exactly why you have to vote for Eric right there. That's the reason right there.
Come on now. Oh, jeez. All right, on to my next one.
So to finish answering your question on Kendall Vildor, he's not going to be benched. I just feel like, he had a rough day at the office. He hasn't played a whole lot, and I think that's just like anybody else. If you haven't played a whole lot, you need a little bit of time, to get reacclimated, and he'll be fine. I just feel like he doesn't fit our defense schematically when we're in man, and we need to play more zone with him.
I think he's the one player on defense where we've taken the round peg and we're trying to put it in square hole. That's the one player on defense I feel like just we have him because we had to have him last year, and we brought him back because he did an admirable job last year. And I think we just have to have him. He's been playing much more in the last 3-4 games. So he should be up to speed, and I was kind of disappointed in yesterday's game, and I'm sure he is as well.
Yeah.
Just we have to get a little bit healthier. We got to get Terry and Arnold back. We need to get a little healthy here. We got 6 games left. Let's put the pedal to the metal.
We need to get a lot healthy. Like I don't want to say the walls are closing in, but you can kind of feel the pressure right now. Like we are so close, yet we are really up against it right now because of injuries. And I know that Dan is not trying to panic, and he's not going to set panic when he's, in press conferences. He's not going to talk about it. He always says it's next man up. It's next man up. And you hear the guys, same thing. It's next man up. They're not trying to panic. They're trying to keep their eye on the prize. They're not trying to panic the fan base. But I think a little panic is okay because we can see it. Like it's there. There's only so many guys you have on a football team. And there's only so many guys that are actually really good at playing football. Yeah. So just so happens we got 69 of the best players in the NFL right now. I swear. I swear every guy that steps up is just playing incredibly well. Vildor had a tough day yesterday, but pretty much everyone else is stepping up and playing pretty well. So that's why I think that panic needs to be subdued a little bit, but you can feel it. The pressure is there. It's there.
All right, you just set up my next question so perfectly, but I have to address something in the chat real quick.
Sure.
Bruce MacArthur, Eric would be fan of the year for Green Bay.
There you go.
Anybody that knows me knows my hatred for Green Bay, and it does not stop. It got even worse yesterday. Oh, okay. So is this an over or an underreaction? Is it an overreaction that injuries will derail the Detroit Lions season this year? That's a tough one.
Overreaction, because I've seen the way that the Lions have managed injuries this year and how smart they've been with managing injuries this year and how ready guys have been to step in and play. This is a very well coached team. Their development is bar none, probably some of the best in the NFL, some of the best I've ever seen. It is a process, right, that I've trusted now for 4 seasons with Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes, that the way that they develop players is the key to their future success. And we've seen it with Broderick Martin, who's a developing player. We've seen it with, Christian Mahogany and Giovanni Manu this year. They're developing players. And we've seen it with guys like, Jalen Reeves-Maben or Barnes. I mean, you name it. The guys that have been taken later in a round that have turned out to be pretty damn good football players. Josh Paschal, even though he was taken in the second round, or Levi Onwuzurike, even though he was taken in the second round. Those players are supposed to be pretty good. Injuries and development kind of sidelined them a little bit for the first couple of seasons, but now you're seeing they're pretty damn good football players. So I don't think that injuries can derail us unless we lose one main figure, and I'm not even going to say his name. So I'll leave it at that.
So is this an under and overreaction? The Detroit Lions are the best team in football and should be the Super Bowl favorites.
Oh, that's definitely I don't know, would that be an underreaction? Because they are.
They are.
I mean, they are the best team in football right now. And they have been for several weeks. I mean, they've ripped off 9 in a row. Tell me another team outside of, what was it, the 16-0 Patriots that have won 9 in a row. How many teams have won 9 in a row? Does anybody know?
I remember the Broncos doing it a few times.
And I think the Dolphins did it, right?
Steelers. But I'm talking a while ago. In recent history, the Eagles, maybe. The Eagles went out to 10-1 last year, I think, and then they imploded.
So here we go. I don't know how accurate this is on Wiki. I really don't know how accurate this is on Wiki.
What's it saying?
All right, so I'm trying to read it. So regular season is a list that contains the top streaks consistently entirely of regular season games. The Indianapolis Colts, 23 games from season to season. So they won 9 in a row one season and 14 in a row the next.
Wow.
The New England Patriots, 21 games. So they had 16 in a row. That was their 16-0 season. I don't know why it says 3 plus 16 plus 2. So it must have been 3 from the previous season plus 16 plus 2 of the next season in a row. So 21 games in a row. The Patriots, again, between 2003 and 2004, they won 18 in a row. So they won 12 in a row, then 6 in a row. I mean, honestly, I think this needs to be broken down differently. So if you look at how many teams have won 9 or in a row or more, the Colts have done it twice. The Patriots did it once. The Patriots did it again. That's twice. Panthers did it once. They won 14. The Bears won 13. The Broncos won 11. The Bears won 11. Miami won 14. Miami won 11. Pittsburgh won 14. That was back in 04-05. And then in the playoffs, I don't even know how you're counting playoffs, but so it's not many. It's not many. It's like 10 teams.
Yeah. Very, very difficult to win.
Yeah, 10 seasons, roughly. And this may not be accurate, but that's the most accurate thing that I found this morning.
So my next question is going to play off my last question. The Detroit Lions have the best coaching staff in the NFL.
I would say that they have a very deep coaching staff. Like Dan Campbell has built one of the best trees in the NFL, I think. David Montgomery. Oh my God, what's the running backs coach? Why can't I remember his name right now?
Scotty Montgomery.
Scotty Montgomery is an excellent coach. There's no doubt as to why he's an assistant head coach right now. And then you have Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson. I mean, they're 3 of the better coaches in the NFL, but it gets deeper, right? Mark Brunell, Hank Fraley. I mean, guys that positional coaches that are leading some of the best positions. Calvin Shepard, one of the best linebacker groups in the NFL right now, being led by Calvin Shepard. Antoine Randall L., one of the best wide receiver groups in the league. When you look at all of our positional groups in the every single one of these coaches is responsible for a league-leading group. If not league leading, they're top 3, they're top 5. Defensive line coach. Terrell Williams. What is this, top 3, top 4 defensive line in the league?
Yep.
I mean, it's deep. So yeah, I would say I need to do a little bit more research to really compare what each positional group does, where they're ranked, and how does that compare to the rest of the league and those coaches before I could give you a final answer on if they are the best. This is the best I've ever seen in Detroit. Yep. Bar none. Best coaching staff I've ever seen in Detroit. We're gonna lose people. I hope we don't, but we're gonna lose people. We're gonna lose Ben. We're gonna lose AG. I think that's a foregone conclusion. I put the name out there of Terrell Williams that I think that he's probably going to get sought after this fall, or I'm sorry, this next January, February, he's probably going to get some calls. And Ray Agnew. I think Ray Agnew, the assistant GM to Brad Holmes, probably going to get an opportunity somewhere. You might even see Aaron Glenn and Ray Agnew end up together in the Saints in New Orleans.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's incredibly fun to be a part of, but it's going to hurt like hell when they separate.
Yeah. And then having to play them, but that would be kind of fun, to play one of our ex-coordinators that moved on to become a head coach, and one of our people moved on to be a GM. That would be incredible. I don't remember. Oh, let's see. We've only had one GM go on to be a GM somewhere else, I think. What was his face? He went on to work with San Francisco.
Last year?
No. This was years ago. But I don't think it was in a GM role. But yeah, to have some of our staff go on to be a GM somewhere else, that's pretty incredible. That would be absolutely fantastic. Fantastic to see this branch out and become a coaching tree, a GM tree, because this is a copycat league. Everyone wants to emulate what wins, right? So Colts are winning. Everybody wants to be like the Colts. The Chiefs are winning. Everybody wants to be like the Chiefs. The Patriots won forever. Everybody stole the coaches and the people from the Patriots. The Detroit Lions tried to become Patriots East, New England East, and it didn't work. I think the only way to make something work is to be original. And that's what the Lions did. They brought in Chris Spielman, and then they brought in Brad Holmes, and then they brought in Dan Campbell, and they went original. And they went with all ex-players as coaches, as assistant coaches, basically. And they built a staff that was unlike any staff in the NFL. And I think that's why it worked. And I think that's, why it's working, and everyone is trying to copy us now.
Yeah, I think that we can't forget about John Dorsey. John Dorsey has been instrumental in our scouting program. I mean, one of the best to do it. I think he's a senior personnel executive right now. I think that's his title, if I remember correctly.
What, the GM with the Browns?
Dorsey?
Yeah.
Browns
before us.
That's a good question. Dorsey. Let me look him up real quick. I want to say, I don't think it was the Browns.
Yeah.
Was it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm pretty sure he was the GM of the Browns.
So, I mean, as a player, he played for the Green Bay Packers. Mm-hmm. As an executive, he was a scout for the Packers. Then he was director of college scouting for the Packers. Then he went to the Seahawks in '99. Then he went to back to the Packers as director of college scouting. Then he went director of football operations for the Packers. He was with the Kansas City Chiefs 2013 to 17. And then he was with the Browns 17 to 19. Then he went to the Eagles in 2020, and then he joined us 2021. So he's been around.
Yep.
I would love an opportunity to go work in the scouting department. It's a goal. It is a lifelong goal. I don't know how I'm going to get there, but I'm going to certainly try. As far as Terrell Williams, I would tab him as our next defensive coordinator. I think that it makes a lot of sense, but I also feel like he's done such a good job with the line that who wouldn't want him to be a defensive coordinator? When you look at his background, and I don't know about his, coaches move all the time. Family is irrelevant when it comes to your job in the NFL. I mean, coaches move all the time. I mean, a lot of times coaches will move and their family will stay behind. So, even if he did come to Michigan to have his son get put into a hockey program, that doesn't mean that Terrell Williams wouldn't commute. That doesn't mean that he wouldn't go live somewhere else and his family would stay behind. Happens all the time. A large majority of coaches operate their life that way. They have multiple homes because they can afford it. And, quite often teams will put them up into a place, for the first year or whatever. So they don't even have to pay for it. But Terrell Williams, let me take a look at his background. I could have sworn that he was a defensive coordinator before. So he was a defensive line coach to start his career in '98. He was defensive line coach for North Carolina A&T, defensive line coach for Youngstown, defensive line coach for Akron, defensive line coach for Purdue, defensive line coach for Texas A&M, defensive line coach for the Raiders, defensive line coach for the Dolphins, defensive line coach for the Titans, assistant head coach and defensive line coach for the Titans in 2023. And now he's the defensive line coach and the run game coordinator for the Lions in 2024. So he hasn't been a coordinator yet. Could have sworn he was a coordinator before. Maybe he doesn't want to be a coordinator.
Yep.
You would think by now that he would have been a coordinator, but look, I'm not going to hold out hope for the guy. I mean, I think that he's definitely one of the best to do it. I mean, you look at what we're doing this season with all the injuries, and we're still producing at such a high level.
Mm-hmm.
It takes talent from a player personnel perspective, but it also takes coaching and scheme and I mean, just knowing what the hell you're doing. I mean, it takes a very special coach to be able to work with all of these, issues week after week after week. So, all right, what's next? What do you got?
And some coaches like David Phipp don't want to be a coordinator. They don't want to be a head coach. They're perfectly happy being where they're at.
That's very true.
Yeah. So with a couple of bad games, Lamar Jackson has started falling down in the MVP voting. And the Bills, Mr. Allen, has kind of risen up. And now with a couple of good games after the Houston game, Mr. Jared Goff has started rising. He's back up to number 3 again for the odds for the MVP. Well, here in a couple of weeks, the Bills and the Lions are going to face off, Jared Goff versus Josh Allen. Do you believe with that game, if Jared Goff has a very good showing and we win that game, it could propel Goff into actually winning the MVP?
I would say that if he beats Allen, that it helps. And I've said this every week, and I'm going to continue to say it every week. The problem is the AP. The problem is that media is so vile.
Nick Wright.
It is so
he probably
biased that it's going to be difficult for Jared Goff. Like, I think that Jared could have the best stats of all quarterbacks in the NFL and win the most games of the season and completely put his team on his back and everything else, right? And he would still lose the MVP race because just like Dan Campbell lost best, head coach of the season last year.
Oh.
For whatever reason, the AP is biased. I mean, nobody wants to see Detroit win. It's why it's always been Detroit versus everybody. Even when we're winning, and we've been winning, right? It's now 2.5 seasons of winning. People still doubt the Lions. They still doubt Dan Campbell. They still doubt what we're doing. They still doubt Jared Goff. Even our own fans. Some still doubt Jared Goff if he has one bad game.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I love it that Jared Goff beat the Texans because all I saw, about halfway through the game is Jared Goff sucks. And I told you Jared Goff was a fraud and blah, 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 blah. Jared Goff is terrible. And Headed Hooker should have been the starter this year. And oh my God, we got to trade for somebody else. And then the second half comes and it's like, shoo.
Yep.
I probably shouldn't have said all that. But they are just waiting for that moment to pounce on Jared Goff. Is it because he has such a likable, punchable face? I don't know what it is.
Yeah.
The dude is such a good dude, right? He's quiet. He's not a big rah-rah guy. He just gets it done. And there's a few quarterbacks that have been very similar to Jared Goff throughout their careers. Tom Brady was one. Like Tom was a very intelligent quarterback. He wasn't the most gifted athlete. He didn't run the ball. You think he averaged 29 yards a season on the ground? A season. Jared Goff almost got that in one game. So you don't have to be a mobile quarterback to win in this league. You just have to be in the right situation with the right team, the right coaches, the right scheme, just like any other quarterback in this league needs the same. Yep, you'll have that outlier that, is a very mobile dual threat quarterback that can make some plays and seems to make plays more often than not. But I would challenge everybody on this. Would you rather see your quarterback running around making plays? Or would you rather see your quarterback being able just to make the play within the scheme with a decent pocket, who's an accurate passer? Because to me, I don't want my quarterback running around getting hurt. He's already getting banged up enough when he's taking sacks or hits on plays. Why would you want to put your quarterback in harm's way? I would say that if you have to run around to make plays with your legs, then your team probably isn't that great. If your team can't get open and you've got to run around like a chicken with what, and then your players finally get open and then you throw the ball. Look, I would say anybody with legs and an arm could probably do that. I think it takes more to play within a scheme. I think it's harder on a quarterback to play within a scheme, to recognize all of the routes and to be able to diagnose a defense and put your team in a winning position. I think that's harder to do. Running around and scrambling, you're just hoping for some miracle to happen. And for some players, it just happens more often than not. But I would say as you're running and scrambling, it takes more from the receiver or the tight end or the running back to put the quarterback in a position to win, more so than it takes the quarterback to put them in a position to win, because they're the ones that have to then recognize, oh, he's running around. I've got to go find a spot. I've got to get open now. Quarterback's not running around throwing you open. You have to go get open. Hope that made sense. But I think that, and I know I kind of went long on this, but Jared Goff to me is bar none a top 3 quarterback in the NFL. And he's playing like the best quarterback in the league right now. He really is. And statistics be damned. What Jared Goff is doing for his team, I think, is better than what the other two are doing for their team. I'll leave it at that. I think that's how the MVP should be voted on.
Yep, exactly. And I don't think they should vote on it until after the Super Bowl. Honestly, let all the games play out. Let's see who the real MVP is. That's the way they should do it. So I got something kind of neat here. Point differential. The Detroit Lions have the best point differential in the entire league. 177 points to the plus, right? Mm-hmm. The next closest team is the Buffalo Bills at 106.
Wow.
The next closest NFC team is the Eagles at 97. That's 80 points difference.
It's crazy.
Between the Lions and the Eagles. So a lot of people are giving the Eagles all this talk because they're one game behind the Lions at 9-2. Same thing with the Vikings, 9-2. But I think people kind of see that the Vikings maybe aren't quite as good as their record says because of who they've played. They've had a very easy schedule. They had a 4th place schedule because they only won 7 games last year.
Mm-hmm.
And so they've had a much easier schedule. They've played the AFC South just like we did. They blew through them. And they played a squeaker against the Bears last week. And now they're coming up on, they're playing the Cardinals this weekend. So we're going to see what kind of team they are, because I think the Cardinals are just about like the Vikings, even though the Cardinals lost a really bad one yesterday.
They did. I didn't even watch that game.
Yeah, I listened to a part of it last night. But my thing with the point differential is this. If you look at the point differential for all the leaders in the NFC, there's one that really stands out to me other than the Lions, and that's the Falcons. They have a negative 30 point differential in the NFC South. Negative 30.
Say that again. The Falcons are minus 30?
-30. So who does that remind you of? That reminds me of the 14-3 Vikings from 2 years ago that had a negative point differential, and they won all those games. So if we face the Falcons in the playoffs, I don't think I'm going to be scared of them whatsoever facing them in the playoffs, not with a negative 30 point differential. And then if you look at the NFC West, my God, that whole entire division, 6-5, 6-5, 5-6, 5-6. And the Seahawks are in first place with a point differential of +2. And the Lions have beat everyone in the NFC West except for the 49ers. And that's the game we got coming up here pretty soon at the end of December.
So yesterday, let me look at the scores. So didn't the Chiefs barely beat the Panthers?
Yeah, 30-27 on a last-second field goal.
Yeah,
the Panthers gave them everything they had.
So we'll go around the league real quick. Let's do our quick 30 seconds here on each game. So Browns and Steelers. The Browns beat the Steelers. Like this is that was that Snow Bowl the other day on Thursday, right?
That was fun to watch.
Nobody expected that to happen. The Browns still have a pretty good defense. So the Steelers just couldn't play in the snow, apparently. Texans and Titans. Titans took down the Texans yesterday.
Wow.
Can't believe it. But you know what? It is what it is. The Vikings and Bears, we talked about that one earlier. Hoping for a Bears win. Didn't happen. But I still don't think the Vikings are going to be able to take on the Cardinals this week and win. Cowboys and Commanders. I don't know what happened to Jaden Daniels yesterday. I don't know what happened with the Cowboys yesterday and where they came alive. But I saw Skip Bayless say, "How about them Cowboys?" And I tweeted back, "They suck." Like, dude, they won one game. Who cares? Patriots and Dolphins. That was a lopsided game from the jump. Tua's playing lights out right now. And that was another thing that Skip put it out yesterday. He said, all those haters that wanted Tua to retire. I still believe it would have been in Tua's best interest to retire because he's only one hit away from ruining his life. I don't want to see it happen. I would hate that to happen for Tua, but he's balling out right now. Let him enjoy it. It is.
Tua needs one more good game this weekend or this Thursday night. Tua needs one great, spectacular game this Thursday night in Lambeau against the Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Just win there, Dolphins, please. Just win.
Chiefs and Panthers. I can't believe the Panthers are even close in this game. But I think that again, it tells you that any given Sunday, anything can happen. And even good teams or even great teams that go up against an inferior opponent can lose. Now, what does that tell you about the Detroit Lions? When we go in against an inferior opponent, like I'm not trying to call, or throw shade at anybody's team, but the Titans were an inferior opponent. We thrashed them, right? Yep. The Cowboys were an inferior opponent. We didn't just beat them. We beat them bad. We beat the brakes off the Cowboys. Who else did we thrash? The Colts, look, they're an inferior opponent, but they had a really good defensive strategy. And I think that we went a little vanilla, probably towards the second half. Maybe we didn't keep the gas pressed as we should have, but we also took on some injuries during the game. And I think that kind of slowed us down a little bit. Like, hey, we just got to get out of this game now. We got to get out of this game as healthy as we are. Do what we got to do to get out of the game. What's the other team? We had another big game this year. What was the other big one? The Jags.
Yep.
Super inferior opponent. We didn't just beat them, we beat the brakes off them. But when you see teams like the Chiefs going up against the Panthers, should have been 30-3, and they allowed the Panthers to hang in the game. That's the difference between your Detroit Lions and the rest of these number one teams right now leading their division. The Lions will take an inferior opponent, and they will completely thrash them. If you let these weaker teams hang with you, I think that has to call into question what's going to happen when you take on the Lions at some point.
So here's something interesting for you, Will. The Kansas City Chiefs have a point differential of 52, plus 52. The Lions are 177.
That's craziness. That's
The
craziness.
Chiefs have scored 270 points this year. Okay. The Lions have scored 360, 90 more points than the Chiefs this year.
Did you watch the ending of the Chiefs game yesterday?
No, I was listening to it on the radio.
So, Chiefs, they scored 10 in the first, 10 in the second. They got one touchdown in the third. I think Mahomes had, 3 touchdowns?
Okay.
And they won by a field goal.
Yep.
There was, I think it was a deeper shot by Mahomes that got him into field goal position. So I don't know. I mean, I don't know if Mahomes really staged a comeback, Brent. I don't know. They kicked the field goal to win the game.
Yep.
But again, I mean, I think it requires the entire team. It requires everybody to work together, right? I didn't watch the end of the game though, so I guess before I go off the deep end on Mahomes, I'll watch the game today. I got to head off to. I got to go give some blood here in a little bit. So, Bucks and Giants. Hey, the Giants are moving off from Daniel Jones. I'm hearing that Daniel Jones is probably going to be picked up today. He's going to escape waivers today. He's going to be picked up. There's more than 10 teams involved. No, the Detroit Lions do not want Daniel Jones. The Vikings, possibly. Yeah, possibly. I mean, I would if I was the Vikings, because if you lose Sam Darnold, your season's over. If you have another quarterback that has experience, you at least might have an opportunity. Broncos and Raiders, lopsided game as expected. Broncos are looking good. Peyton's really doing a good job over there. Seahawks and Cardinals, I mean, what a low-scoring, boring game this was. Cardinals couldn't get anything going. Seahawks came to play, man. They had a really good defensive strategy for the Cardinals. 49ers and Packers, look, this Brad Allen's son that was playing quarterback for the 49ers just couldn't get anything going. The guy was just a turnover machine, couldn't see the offense, couldn't see through defense, and the Packers just capitalized on turnover after turnover. I mean, it was like interception, Packers go down and score, kickoff, oh, there's a fumble, Packers get the ball, go down and score, kickoff again, there's another fumble. It was like, geez, man, like the 49ers just, Christian McCaffrey even fumbled yesterday. That's rare for him.
Yep.
Eagles and Rams. I expected more out of the Rams. I absolutely expected more out of the Rams. They got thrashed. Not sure what the injury situation is right now for the Rams. Haven't really paid attention to them a whole lot. Tonight we have the Ravens and the Chargers. This is going to be an epic game that nobody wants to miss. This is the Harbaugh Bowl.
Go Chargers.
Yes, go Chargers for sure.
Yeah. And did you happen to see, okay, I just want to touch on something. Saquon Barkley had 255 yards rushing, and he had 2 touchdowns of over 70 yards rushing.
Say that again? I didn't even catch that stat yesterday.
Yeah, 255 yards rushing, and he had 2 touchdowns, and each of them were over 70 yards.
Jesus. You know what, though? He ain't going to do that crap against the Lions. I guarantee it. He won't get 100 yards. I'm calling it right now. If we play the Vikings or if we play the Eagles, he ain't getting 100 yards. If there's a bet somewhere that I could lay on that right now, I would.
Yep.
So Sam Darnold, is he done? I didn't think he was done.
Why would he be done?
Someone said that he went down yesterday, but
Darnold went down? I didn't see nothing about that.
I didn't see that either.
No, and I watched the whole end of that game. I didn't see nothing.
He had a foot injury.
Yeah, but that was before the game.
Yeah, I didn't see anything that happened to Sam Darnold yesterday.
And that was last week. He had a foot injury.
Huh. Subscription, Elizabeth LaValle. So it is through YouTube. So you have to, if you want to join the membership, it's through YouTube. Otherwise, you just go to Rocked On Cancer Foundation. I can't do anything about memberships. Like that's all controlled by YouTube. And I think you have to pay through Google. I mean, you could reach out to YouTube or Google's chat for help, but I just don't know. I don't know how to help. I mean, I guess the only other thing that you could do is, if your card is restricted or something, like if you don't want it to go through, some people restrict their cards, like they don't use Google. You could go buy, or use like a prepaid card. I think those work too, but it's not necessary, Elizabeth. We know that you're part of the group here. Appreciate, everything that you do. But if you want to go to Rock Down Cancer Foundation and, if you want to donate or something there, that one's a little easier to do. But sometimes you'll get a fraud alert from your bank. I even get one through my own bank. You just got to clear it. All right. Anything else we got to cover for today? So we've gone through all the NFL scores. Who are the hottest teams coming out of this week?
Detroit Lions.
Of course they are. Yep. Let's bring in the playoff machine here and take a quick peek. And we're going to bounce. All right. So here's your playoff machine. Let me make this a little bigger. This is what we've got going on. Still in week 12 here. Lions are the 1 seed. I should probably clear week 13. I started working on week. Let me clear it. There we go. Lions are your 1 seed right now. And your Kansas City Chiefs, both Lions and Chiefs are 10-1, sitting on top of the league. AFC, NFC. 2nd seed right now is the Eagles. 3rd seed is the Seahawks. 4th seed is the Falcons. 5th seed is your Vikings. 6th seed is the Packers. And the 7th seed is the Washington Commanders. On the AFC side, Buffalo is sitting atop the 2nd seed. Steelers as your 3rd. Texans as your 4th. Depending on what happens tonight, it's either going to be Los Angeles at 5 or Baltimore at 5. But Baltimore is the 6th right now, and 7th seed is the Broncos. Wait, matter of fact, well, let's see what happens. No, Chargers win, they stay at 5. Yep, Ravens win, they bounce to 5. So we're going Chargers. Take a quick peek into week 13. So who's going to win? The Lions are going to win. Cowboys are going to win. Dolphins are going to win. Chiefs, I hope they lose, but they're probably not going to. Colts are going to beat up the Patriots. The Bengals are going to beat up the Steelers. The Chargers are going to pick on the Falcons. The Seahawks will pick on the Jets. Texans will definitely beat the Jags. I'm taking the Cardinals over the Vikings. Commanders over the Titans, which that one is that could be a trap game or whatever you like to call them, trap game. It could be a Titans win. Panthers, man,
had their trap game.
What's that?
Washington just had their trap game. They just lost.
That was a tough game for them. I'm going to stick with the Bucs, even though the Panthers somehow figured something out. Rams, I'll take them over the Saints. Ravens and Eagles. That is a tough one.
Ravens, because they're coming off a loss.
All right, we'll go Ravens. Buffalo and San Francisco. I don't know how long Purdy is out. I'm gonna go Buffalo.
Yeah, Buffalo.
And then I'll take the Broncos. Week 14. I can't believe we're almost to the end of the season. Lions are going to beat the Packers. Saints are going to beat the Giants. Steelers will definitely beat the Browns in that second go around. Kirk Cousins gets revenge against the Vikings. I'm going to take the Raiders against the Bucs. I don't know why. I'm just going to do it. Eagles over the Panthers. Titans over the Jags. Dolphins over the Jets. Seahawks over the Cards a second time. Nope, they're going to win that one. Rams or Bills?
Probably the Bills.
All right, we'll take the Bills. Cowboys or Bengals?
Bengals.
All right, I'm going to take the Chargers over the Chiefs, and I'm going to take San Francisco over the Bears. Week 15, I'm going to take LA over San Francisco. I think that'll happen. Ravens over the Giants. We'll take the Jets to win week 15. Why not? Panthers, I think they'll beat the Cowboys. Commanders over the Saints. Bengals over the Titans. Chiefs over the Browns. Nah, you know what? Let's let these Browns eat.
Yeah.
Dolphins or Texans? That's a tough game.
Dolphins
it is. Cardinals and Patriots, we'll go Cardinals. Definitely rolling the Lions and the Bills. Chargers and Bucks, that's a good game. We'll go Chargers. Eagles and Pittsburgh. That is a really tough game.
I'll take the Steelers.
All right, we'll go Steelers. We need them to win anyway.
The Eagles 2 in a row lost.
We'll go Falcons in the last game of the week. I'm going to take Seattle over Green Bay. It's at Seattle. Seattle's playing tough right now.
Yeah, there we go.
Then we got. I think we're going to take the Bears to upset the Vikings at home.
Yeah.
Think it's possible?
Yeah, sure.
Anybody agree?
We did it.
We can do it. Bears can do it.
Yesterday.
All right, Caleb. You can have one big upset, and that's it. All right, Chargers over the Broncos. That's at home for the Chargers. I'll take the Chargers. Texans and Chiefs. That's a tough one. What do you think?
Texans and Chiefs. I'll say Chiefs on that one.
I don't know. I'm going to go Texans.
I don't know. It depends on if they're playing for their playoff life, you know.
I think that the Texans defense might be too, if they stay healthy through week 16, yeah. I think they're going to be a little bit too swarmy for the Chiefs.
Yeah.
That's just what I'm seeing right now.
I saw you just pick the Packers too.
I had to over the Saints.
No, I don't care.
I know you don't care, but I had to. Bills over the Patriots. All right, Ravens at home. We'll take them over the Steelers. All right, Dolphins in San Francisco. It's at Miami. We're going to go Miami. Tampa Bay, the Cowboys will go Tampa Bay.
I don't think you have the 49ers winning another game.
I might not.
They might not.
Eagles in Washington at Washington.
Ooh, that's going to be a tough one. Tough.
As much as I want to take the Commanders, the way that they played the last couple of games, I don't know.
You might have to take the Eagles on that one.
I'm going to roll Washington just because it's at home.
All right.
I have to. Even though it's probably not going to end up that way. We'll take the Eagles, damn it. All right, week 17. Kansas City at Pittsburgh.
Ooh. Man, that's going to depend on what's on the line for Pittsburgh and Kansas City. That's going to be a seed game. Who gets what seed? That's a tough game. Kansas City, Pittsburgh. Is it at Pittsburgh?
It is at Pittsburgh.
Home team.
Wow, Kansas City dropping another one. LA or Cardinals at LA.
I'll take the Cardinals. Wouldn't it be funny to see the Chiefs like not win another game the rest of the season, not make the playoffs like you predicted?
If that happens, dude, I mean, that would just be nuts. That would just be nuts. But right now I've got them as the 5th seed, dropping all the way from the 1 seed. Green Bay or Vikings at Vikings?
Go with the home team.
I don't know, man. I think Green Bay kills them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying. All right, Lions, we're going to beat San Francisco?
Oh, 1,000,000%.
I think San Francisco's, I don't know. I don't think they're that great of a team.
I'm telling you what, after the takeover yesterday in Indy, I don't know if it's going to be as much on San Fran because that's more of an expensive trip. But I'm going to tell you what, we're going to have a very, very solid amount of Lions fans at that 49er game, including myself and my wife. We will be there.
All right, so we'll take the Colts to beat the Jags. We got Broncos. Oh, I'm going to take the Broncos over the Chiefs in week 18. Broncos at home. Chargers are going to win. Washington's going to win. Eagles are going to win. Lions, I'm going to call a loss in week 18 because we're going to be resting.
Yeah.
Packers and Bears at Green Bay. I'm going to give the edge to Green Bay there. It's Lambeau. It's cold.
I want the Bears to beat them once.
Well, the Packers are still not in the playoffs, so.
Yeah.
Last team here, San Fran at Cardinals.
That'd be so funny if both teams are playing for nothing that last game of the season.
Well, if it ends up the way that I just put it in here, it still has a Kansas City as the 6th seed.
Yep.
So what would have to happen for them to drop out? It would have to be Let's take a look at it.
Game.
It would have to be. You would oh, geez. How is LA above Kansas City at 7-3? That doesn't make any sense. You see that down here? Oh, I see. I see. I got LA projected 14-3 and Kansas City 11-6. So the only way would be, the only way would be if
they lose out.
If Indianapolis or Denver win a couple of extra games. So who did I have Denver losing to? I had Denver beating the Chiefs in week 18. Week 17. Where's Denver at? Where is Denver? Oh, Bengals. I had them losing to the Bengals. That might not happen. Week 16. Where's Denver? Chargers. We had the Chargers beating them.
I think Denver's going to make the playoffs. I really do.
I think that they could. I had them beating the Colts in week 15. And
how good is Bo Nix looking now?
I think he's looking pretty good.
Quarterback taken, and he's better than Caleb Williams.
So you remember what I've always said, like it is such a crapshoot to take a quarterback so early, and it's 2.5 years before a first round pick, usually a first round number 1, 2, or 3 pick, usually do anything in the league. Yeah. And you're seeing it come to fruition right now. The Jaden Daniels is balling out of control, and Bo Nix is having a pretty good season. All right, week 16. I'm going to dial this one back. So I'm going to go ahead and put week 17. I'm going to put the Broncos beating the Bengals, but that is still going to leave them one game shy.
Yeah.
Because they're going to be tied with Kansas City. And even though I have them beating Kansas City, there must be another tiebreaker from earlier in the season. So the Broncos would have to finish with 12 wins to beat out Kansas City.
Yeah. The Broncos, they lost to KC there a week or two ago on a field goal.
So unless Miami drops a couple of games, I mean, that would be the only other way, is if Miami drops a couple of games, that would allow 3 teams in the AFC West to get in. So I think the path for Denver is going to be Miami losing a couple of games, or Kansas City dropping a lot of games, or the Rams, which I think I'm giving a lot of credit to the Rams. Probably too much credit. Well, I didn't spend a lot of time. We just kind of did this on the fly, but it is what it is. So if it ended this way, Lions and Buffalo Lions Super Bowl is a potential. I still think it's a big potential, and I still think it's a potential that Kansas City could be out of the playoffs. Yeah, I still think it's a potential that the 49ers are going to be out of the playoffs. I still think there's a good potential that the Green Bay Packers will be out of the playoffs. But if you tell me right now that this is our NFC, I would be more feared of Seattle and the Eagles. Those would be the only 2 teams that I wouldn't want to play. And if it ended up this way, that they had to play each other in the first wild card game, that would eliminate one of the 2 best teams, in my opinion, in the NFC. Seattle's defense can be scary, but their offense, I'm not that worried about. And the Eagles are just rolling right now. So I think that, there's a potential that one of those teams could hurt us, possibly. So, hey, Brent, that's great news, buddy. That's awesome news. Congratulations, man.
What's that?
He said his double eyelid biopsy came back negative for cancer, dude. That's incredible news, bro. Awesome. Awesome news. All right, well, that's it for today's show on the Rise and Grind Morning Show. We'll be back tomorrow morning. We're going to dip into the Bears and in Lions matchup, so we'll have 2 quick days. And depending on what's going on Thursday, I don't know if I'm going to the game or not. It was supposed to be a family day. It's not happening. Megan, of course, has to work at the hospital, so I might be all alone for Thanksgiving, or I might be here with you guys. I don't know. Or I might be at the game. I just don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. I am
going down to the game, and I'm leaving Tuesday afternoon. So I won't be able to be on Wednesday or Thursday.
That's all right.
Okay.
I'll be here. Don't forget, Honolulu Blue Brew will be added to the store today. Get your pre-orders. Everything is going to ship out before Christmas. I've got boxes and that going out today. For those of you that are owed boxes, a lot of things are going to get done today, but I got to go give blood real quick before I do anything. And then get back in the saddle later on this afternoon. So Lions win, another epic win on Sunday over the Colts, 24-6. What started out as a rocky day for your Detroit Lions against Anthony Richardson's legs ended up turning out to be a hell of a victory for the Lions, man. They played strong in all facets of the game. I don't know of any weaknesses that the Lions really showed yesterday other than allowing Anthony Richardson to have a couple of burst runs early. And for whatever reason, they went away from it, and that really helped out the Lions. So we'll see you guys back in the morning on the Rise and Grind Morning Show. Go on Pride, go Detroit Lions. We'll check you guys out later. Bye-bye.
Every day, thousands of people are discovering Uper Lights, Michigan's newest, funnest rock to go find on the shores of the Great Lakes. Don't go out with just any light. Try the Convoy C8 from uperlights.com. It's guaranteed for life, and you'll find all the ones everyone else misses. Quality UV lights that are perfect for Uper Lights with prices starting as low as $20. Please make sure to visit uperlights.com for all your UV flashlight needs with the best guarantees on the market. Just what you wanted and not what you didn't. The best quality, the best guarantees, and the best UV flashlights from uperlights.com.